Oh boy. Here we go. Episode 102. Let's do it. Cheers, everybody. Happy Monday. Ooh, it's bitter. Come on in. Oh, my eyes are sore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Ha. Yo, oh man, we got Fallon, Peter, Ruth, Mama, Malcolm, Jason. Great group already. Come on in, people. It is Monday, my favorite day of the week. And my eyes can't handle the light right now. Cheers, everybody. Wow. Can you believe it's almost 2022? Whoa. Time is just nonsense at this point. Now, I'm thirsty, but I can't drink this yet because it's a sand bitter. It's an Italian bitter soda. And it's like, I mean, I'm used to the taste now. It's bitter. I like it with the ice. It's got to melt a bit. Cheers, everybody. Come on in. Episode 202. This is Evening Hour. My name's Cardone. If you're new to this, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notify. I do these shows every week. This week, there's 2 of them. There's going to be another one on Wednesday, and it's going to be special, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. But if you're new, look at the chat. There's a chat going on. This is a very chatty show with a great group. Participate. If you chat, you get points. Hey, what's up? VOY, FYI. What does that mean? Can you guys hear me? I'm bad with code. So Priscilla Short says voice over. Oh, I don't know what that means. Yeah. Okay, you guys can hear me. Yeah, this year flew by. Jason said, and so many great things happened in my world this year. That's awesome. I would say the same. Good evening, Amanda. How are you? I had the greatest year of my life this year. I'm not kidding. I really mean that. I'm not just saying it. Oh, thank you, Jason. No, I had the literally externally, internally, the most productive year I have ever had. Achilles, what's up? So yeah, I agree. I had a crazy good year. In spite of all the nonsense, yes. You know what's crazy that I did this year? Oh, also, wait, hold on. Before I start BSing here. If you're new, listen. Chat away. If you look in the description below, you get points and you can win prizes just from chatting. And you can gamble the points too. If you look in the chat, in the description, it explains it. So have a peek. Also, as donations go, that's all up to you. I don't beg for them. If you want to donate, I'm very happy to take them. I live off of performing. But the most important thing you can do is hit the like and the subscribe. And the subscribe button's down here in the corner. Okay. So let's move. Let's get into this subject. I have been writing for the last, I can go look, 9 months, 5 days a week. I've been writing an essay, and I was trying to figure out how many words a day I'm writing. I'm writing about 400 words a day in that essay, around, give or take. I write about 500 and then pull it back a bit, usually. I like that thank you, Ruth. I like that Instagram limits how much I can write. It forces me to be pithy, and to the point, and, you know, they're not long. They're 400-word essays. Sometimes I go a little short, but most of the time I go way over and have to pithicize it. Did I just make a word up? Pithicize. Pithicize. Anywho, yeah, so writing 400 words a day on that and the book I'm working on, my curse book. I've been writing a lot, and I never in my life wrote this much. I've never thought of myself as a writer. I've never even wanted to be a writer. It's not in my book. It just fell into my lap as something that I needed to do. And my buddy Rick Sherman, I don't know if you're watching, he mentioned a quote today from oh my God, where is it? Oh, here. It's a quote. You guys will like this. It's a quote from the author named, hold on, pardon, mi pardonara. Well, where the hell's her name? I can't find the quote. The quote's here with no name. It says, I write entirely to find out what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at, what I see, and what it means, what I want, and what I fear. And when he told me that, I'll tell you who said that. Hold on. God, it's going to drive me nuts. I hate not being able to cite this source. Oh, Joan Didion, an author. Anywho, that quote made a lot of sense to me. Oh, you're a writer. Thank you. Release date. Oh, I don't know about that. The curse book release date? I don't know. Could be another year. Let's see. This quote about, I want to know what's in my head. Writing did it. My problem with writing my whole life, and the reason why I never thought of myself as a writer, hey, Dan P., howdy, brother. I just never thought of myself as a writer. It was painful to write. It just didn't come out of me. I'm a talker. You give me a mic, I can talk for hours about nothing. I could talk about this bottle cap for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you know? So, writing was hard. And then one day, after forcing myself to kind of sit and piece through stuff, I realized that I could speak in my mind and dictate it. I mean, take the notes. So it's almost like I'm listening to this other thing and it's coming out. That's what shifted. The other thing, and I will say this, when I started writing lyrics for my Opulence project, I took it very seriously, those lyrics. One day I'll publish just those. It not only had to fit in the meter of the song, the syllables that I was hitting vocally meant something. I mean, I really wanted it to lock in, right? Syllabically, is there a word for that? What's the word for that? If I want something to, the syllables to lock in. The pentameter? Now I'm pulling deep. I don't know what you call it. I really wanted the language, the flowery language, to mean something. So I focused on the flowery writing those lyrics. Not the flowery, but the emotional context of the words I was using to put in the lyric, which is why they're lyrics and not essays. I just whacked my hand. Oh, you want a real typewriter. Wow. So when I started writing the essays, I went from using flowery language to getting rid of it. Like trying to just explain myself as crystal clear as possible so that you can tell what I'm thinking. So I got to it, like, I would say the Opulence stuff started 4 years ago. Like me trying to really focus on getting good at that. The meter, it's the meter. There it is. The meter, yeah. I was focusing on meter and word choice for its emotional oomph. And then recently it's been more of making it smooth, concise, pithy, to the point, and easy to get inside my head. Yeah, my problem with the typewriter, that was one of the reasons why I didn't write as much in the old days, is because I didn't like working on computers. I don't like computers. I don't like sitting in a computer. I would rather handwrite it, or in my case, oh my God, you have 6 typewriters. That's amazing. I like writing in my notes on the little keyboard in here. I prefer it for some weird reason. Occasionally I'll dictate, but it's not, I thought, you would think that would work with me because I'm a talker, but it doesn't. It's actually, I do it if I have an idea that I need to get out before I forget it. I'll dictate it, and then I'll go back and fix it. Yeah, well, when you start to write, you start to learn, you become a better speller. You become a wordsmith. I mean, when I'm writing lyrics or dirty limericks or poems, I am constantly in, looking up synonyms, and I'm in the thesaurus and the all the different dictionaries, wordsmithing. I mean, rhyming dictionaries, all that stuff. Thesaurus. So, let's get into some meat here before I go. My needle's dirty. Ooh. I need to go back to pen or typewriter. Computer. Interesting. Yeah, it's true. But, if you're... People say the computers made it worse. I kind of disagree. I think because I have a computer and it does correct my spelling, I get to see what the spelling is, and I also like to look up things quick. So the fact that I'm typing and go click, look it up, I really liked it. Oh yeah, reading is the key. I mean, reading for spelling and new words. I mean, when I'm reading the ancient books, I'm constantly looking up new words. Dan P., you and I are on the same team on that one. I do like writing with Sharpies. See? That's all. And I can see, you have to write a little bigger with a Sharpie, so I can see it without glasses, like the nearsighted glasses. Your hand. Yes. So Ruth, I hear Ruth is making Pizzelle waffles. I saw your pictures. Now you went with a different recipe where you make a dough and you plop the little ball in it and flatten it, right? It's weird because I've never done that before. When I make it, it's kind of runny. It's definitely more liquid than a dough. So I'm curious, Ruth, when yours were done, were they super, super crispy, or were they had a little flex to them? I'm curious. Yeah, you got to try my recipe next time and see the difference. I'm curious. Mine are probably harder to make. They're a little messier. Yeah, Stanley's right. That's it. You got to read like a freak. The older the book, the longer the sentences. I mean, the Nietzsche stuff's ridiculous. He's got sentences that are like a paragraph. I love it. So yeah, Ruth, you're on the cookie thing. Now, how many dozens did you make? I'm curious. I love doing the dough. Yeah, dough is fun. I like dough too. It's very, I don't know, the texture. Okay. All right. So maybe they're almost the same. Now, my question is, what's in your recipe? Was it, I think you said it's less eggs. You got to get an iron. Now, I'm going to be honest. 90% of the Pizzelle irons on the market are junk. They feel like the Snoopy snow cone machine. Remember the Snoopy snow cone machine? It's kind of crappy plastic and kind of flimsy. The new Pizzelle irons are like that. I have an old one and 2 new ones. The old one weighs as much as both new ones. It's heavier. It doesn't slide. So you got 48 out of 3 eggs. How is that possible? Wow, that is very different. Mine's 18 eggs and does, I don't know how many. I can get 60, 70, 80. I don't know. I do about 30 dozen. I'll do 30 dozen in the next few weeks. Yeah, I'm making hundreds. Last week I made 5 dozen. I can't keep up anymore. There's a chance I'll do a Pizzelle episode next week. Okay, now I'm going to get into the meat of the show here. Well, there's 3 parts to my show. Let's keep it moving because I don't want to run out of time. I mean, there is no time. We can go all night if we want. Honestly, here, let me just check something here. Okay. On Wednesday, I'm doing a special show. It's going to be a magic method. So for anybody watching right now who does magic, you're curious about magic, you want to get inside the head of an actual magician, check it out. I'm going to be talking in magician lingo the whole time. I'm going to assume everybody watching is a professional magician, therefore preserving some of the secrets, and you'll hear. I'm going to assume the people watching me on Wednesday are at not my level of like how long I've been doing it, but people that are trying to actually perform in public. I'm going to be speaking to those. So, oh wow, you got an old coffee pot. I want to see it, Fallon. I'm curious what it looks like. So on Wednesday, last week, I'll give you a little precursor to what it is, and this might make you want to watch. 3 eggs, 1 cup of sugar. Oh, you have butter in your... Mine don't have butter. No canola oil. Weird. Oh, yeah, yours are totally different. I'm going to try that. So... Oh, let me write that down. I'm going to publish my Pizzelle recipe. Okay. So... Last week, when you're a magician, I get some emails from companies that make magic books and tricks and products and supplies for magicians. I used to work for magic shops for many years, for many different magic shops too. And so I get emails of new magic tricks coming out, and believe me, they're daily. I don't, keep track of them anymore. But every now and then I'll get one, and I got one from a shop that a friend of mine owns. And there was a new trick from a magician I have a love-hate with. Not a love-hate, but just some of the guy's stuff that he's published is good, and some isn't. And so this was a trick. Something to buy. An aid, a utility aid, a gadget, and a routine. For a trick, I already do. And I don't use gadgets or anything for it. It's like, I already have a version of it that's... There's a million versions of this trick. It's kind of a famous trick now. And so here's this other guy's version. And I was like, look, I was like, you know what? I'm going to order it. And I ordered it because maybe there's a part of it that I can use for something that I'm doing. Or I can use the whole thing as it is. Magicians release tricks like a band would put out a song and then you cover it. Like they go, here's a trick it's in my act. And I'm going to sell you the method. And so a lot of guys, they just plop it in their show or they change it to suit their needs, right? So I was like, I read the trick. I looked at the video that they were selling. I ordered it. I got it a few days later. And I should have known better. I'll tell you, you can tell now. It's called a rant. I didn't enjoy it. And I wanted to give it a review. I felt compelled to review it. I said, I don't do magic reviews. I also don't order tricks that often. It's like very rare, unless it's a book or something. I could care less. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a magic method, and I'm going to give it a thoughtful review of what I think could be better or what's wrong or what, I'm going to go through it. And it's a lot of theory, a magic theory. My values of the world of the art of magic are basically part of it's the main part. And so that's going to be on Wednesday, 8 p.m., just like this, except it's magic method. It's a rant. It's a magic method rant. And so I'm going to be talking about magic from a professional magician angle. You probably will find it fun. Yeah. So if you're a magician, I promise you're going to like it and you're going to get a lot out of it. You're going to get in my head a little bit of how I think about certain things. Okay. So my episode tonight was called Rock Neck Reality Check for a few reasons. This past weekend, I played in a rock show. It was a fundraiser for a friend of ours, Howie Pyro, from Degeneration and Danzig. He was in Danzig on 2 records? Can't remember. He's a friend of ours. And he needed a liver, and he got it. And now we did a fundraiser. So it was an all-star night. It was like a bunch of bands, and there was some celebrities, and, we were all there just playing and having fun. And it was, again, like the New York City rock and roll high school reunion. I knew so many people there. It was crazy. If you're not an accomplished magician, you will learn about how we think. You really will. That's what I'm going to be doing. So on Saturday, we played the show. It was my band, Toilet Boys, Lunatics, Murphy's Law. Both of those bands are 2 of my favorite New York City bands. I'm so bad with names. Zoolander. What's his name? Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller's band played. Now, I'll talk about that in a second. So, there was no sound checks or anything, really. Oh, Jesse Malin threw the party, and Jesse Malin performed as a solo artist. And it was his show. And he is from the band Degeneration, and his bandmate's the guy that needed the liver. So, Ben Stiller's high school band played. And as we were getting ready, and there was no sound check, which I kind of like sometimes. It's kind of fun. This dude with a mask kind of walks up to me and goes, "Hi." And I was like, "Oh, hey. Oh, it's Ben Stiller. Hi. Nice to meet you." He saw that, we had some music gear, and he assumed we were also in one of the bands. And, yeah, thank you, Ruth. And I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, brother?" I didn't get to take a picture with him. I wanted to, but when you're in that situation, it's kind of hard. And, he's great. I think he's funny. And he looked happy and excited. His band was a little weird. I'm going to be honest. He had like 1 million people on stage, and I didn't get to see much. So, Lunatics, so we played. It was awesome. I have a video I'll show you. And then Lunatics played. They blew the stage off. And then Murphy's Law. My God, if you've never seen Murphy's Law, Jimmy G is one of the best showmen of all time. He's a great front man. He literally, every show they do, he jumps in the audience and stays there the whole time. So I saw Murphy's Law 2 years ago. They did that Misfits thing at the arena in Jersey. Murphy's Law was the opening band. And he jumped in there and same thing. He didn't even stand on stage. But I thought Murphy's Law stole the show that night. He's got a lot of heart and thank you, Ruth. And Jimmy G on Saturday put on a show. He's really great. And they got up and, we all did short sets, because there was 1 million bands playing. And, I mean, Robert Gordon performed, the rockabilly guy. Who else was there? My God, I'm starting to forget. Lenny Kaye from Patti Smith. Susie from L7. She was there. It was kind of cool. And so here, you know what? I had a video. Here, let's watch the video. Well, here's the pic. So Bowery Ballroom is like a small version of Webster Hall. Little small. This is a balcony. I think it holds about 800 people. Here, check it out.
Let's hear it for Toilet Boys!
Okay. Where's my live cam? Okay. Yeah, I think the sync was off on that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to fix that. I uploaded it perfect and oops. Anywho. Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy fun show. It was sold out. It was awesome. There's a million videos of that. I mean, when we do shows like that, there's always like a million photos and videos. Totally cool. We had a blast, but I have rock neck. Rock neck is after you played a rock show, if you're not on tour, like you're just moving around on stage, you're in pain. Especially if you're headbanging, right? But I also have what I call Batman syndrome. And people always wonder what Batman syndrome is. This is Batman syndrome. Hey Adam, what? Where I don't move my neck. Everything, like when I have to look up, I have to do this. That hurts. It's my arthritis. It's from carrying heavy objects for 35 years. Objects too heavy that I shouldn't be carrying. Yeah, I have severe limited stuff. When I surf, you have to look up and arch. It's hard, it's like very tight. So, yeah, we have all the same moves. So this whole weekend was like this rock and roll fantasy again. We've been having these because, I don't know, we just have been. And it was one of those things where the next day, I had severe rock neck on Sunday, which was yesterday. And I did one of my reality checks. And reality checks are something that I wanted to talk about tonight. And it ties into last week's episode. And it's something that's kind of important to me. Well, you know how, like, for the last year, I talk about my 2-year filter, where for the new people watching, I really do every day pretend like I'm going to croak in 2 years. And I try to make all my decisions based on that notion. I've been doing this other thing for a long time, maybe for the last 20 years, maybe a little longer, maybe like 25, 30 years, where at certain moments, I do this little check-in with myself. And what I do, and I'm curious if anybody else does this, what I do is I basically talk to myself out loud, like, hey, what's up, man? All right, how are you? I'm good. Where are you today? That's what I ask. Where are you today? What's up? And then I testify to myself. I don't usually write it down, although maybe I should. Maybe I should write down notes on it. What's up, Mark? I'm just getting into the juicy stuff, the philosophy stuff. And so I testify to myself my current situation. It's kind of like the President's State of the Union, except me. And I just call it a reality check. I should come up with a more colorful word for that. My reality check. Because it's me not checking your reality. It's my reality. So, like, for instance, Sunday, I'm like, look, where are you? Are you comfortable with where you are? Are you comfortable with where you live? There's that old saying, you're only as good as your last gig, and I really do believe that. It's a humbling thing. One day you're headlining Madison Square Garden, and the next day you're performing for 4 people at the Veterans Hospital. It's all relative, So, Sunday I did a reality check, and I will say, anytime I feel a little bit not, I don't want to say unhappy, but ants in my pants. A little bit like I want to see something move or change, or maybe I see something going in a darker direction that not need be, or let me think about that for a second. But I basically do a little one of these little reality checks where I go, all right, look, here's the problem. This is what you're dealing with. And aside from that, what else is going on? Whenever I do that, the problem gets really small. It usually shrinks to nothing. And I go, oh, okay. You have all this other great stuff going on. So I've been doing it. I did one on Sunday. I kind of sat down and went through my stuff in my head. And it's very uplifting and freeing. And ooh, what's this in Yiddish? What is that? Spikels. Spielkels. What is that? I don't know that. What is the definition of that? How would you define that word, Ruth? There's a lot of Yiddish words that made it to our language. I love it. Chutzpah. Schmutz. Putz. There's so many good ones. So, on the note of the reality check, I realized that when I do them, I'm basically using the rhetoric tricks on myself. Last week I mentioned, I brought up rhetoric and debating and how I know I'm naturally good at it. I'm naturally good at it because I do shows. I'm talking to people all the time. And I think I'm good at it because of magic. The general unease. Oh, I see. That nervous, uneasy thing. Yeah, exactly. Oh, cool. I like that. I realized that I got good at rhetoric because of magic. Because I'm selling something to somebody that's a bunch of BS. I'm taking BS and selling it to somebody for entertainment purposes. So you kind of have to be good at the rhetoric of it all for it to work. Oh, thank you, Ruth. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Ruth got a mystery box. And so I use rhetoric on myself. I think even Socrates, which is funny, last week I mentioned that he thought rhetoric was only good for yourself too. Like, it's better for yourself. So I was like, okay. So that means, all right, I'm using all of these rhetoric tricks for doing a magic trick. And I'm using it to self-motivate. I have two different versions of rhetoric in my life that I personally use on a daily basis. One's for like internal and one's literally for external. Well, that's what that's Fallon. That's selling BS. When you start to study it, it becomes problem. The problem is you start to see it everywhere and it makes you go nuts. Especially when you watch, and I hate to say it, the news. It's really bad. It's so bad at what they leave out and what they don't leave out. How they'll say a blanket, big, bold, emotionally charged statement, but they'll leave out key components so that it doesn't have to deal with the facts. When I started noticing that, I was like, my God, this is how I do magic tricks. And I shape course. And I do it, I spend a lot of time working on little singular tiny moments for something to happen. And of course, that amount of effort's put into making billions of dollars. So, interesting. Well, if you're selling anything, rhetoric is definitely, yeah, there it is, Ruth. The feeling of anxiety. Your anxiety takes advantage of moments of weakness to shit talk you. Yeah, it's subconscious, chiming up. That's why, we're always talking about mental health and physical health. Well, we should talk about subconscious health. Because when people say mental health, they don't even know what that means. What do you mean mental health? I think there's some details to it that need addressed. There's chemical parts to mental health, and then there's subconscious parts to mental health that trigger the chemicals, and vice versa, right? I think people need to understand the functionality of how our brains work, because if they did, this is why I can't believe they don't teach this stuff to little kids. It makes me mad. It's not that hard to understand. Yeah, this is a machine, a chemical computer. Once you understand how it works, it kind of gets easier to deal with some of the nonsense. This is starting to taste good. Speaking of nonsense, my mother's watching. In her move, she's been giving me stuff, you know, like the grandparent stuff that she's had enough of and has plenty of. See this brass, beautiful, I'll put it up close so you can see the art on it. It needs cleaned. I haven't cleaned it. It's got a couple cracks in it, but it is a beautiful piece of art that was in my grandparents' house. I believe my great-granddad, this was one of his things. Now here's the crazy part. It's made from a shell. This is a shell casing. My God. How... The bullet on this thing's this big. Is this a howitzer? What is this? Anybody know? Mental health. Well, Bill, I just said, you know, there's mental health, meaning like you're chemically imbalanced, and then there's like you did bad things and your subconscious now is freaking out. You know, to me, there's like a lot of stuff in that. Does anybody know what kind of a shell casing this is? Oh, yeah, it is beautiful. Well, also, if you are upset or depressed or you're in a bad situation and that makes the chemicals come out, right? A different type of chemical mix. People get used to those chemicals. Hey, my sister's in here. Yes, this was Donato's, Yvette, which is our great-granddad. From munition to art. Yeah. I mean, dude, look at that. I think it says made in Syria. It does. It's scratched on the bottom. And I don't know, that's my great-granddad's scratching from Syria. But you can see the firing pin and it's a shell kit. It's crazy. Yeah, I always thought a lot of people, they get used to being miserable, and that becomes their normal chemical brain pattern. And so when they get to the happy stuff and they're producing the happy chemicals, it doesn't work. Their petri dish is off. That's why I just wish they taught more about mental health in school and it was talked about, because it's also physical health. It's a form of physicality. I mean, your subconscious, if it's toxic, is going to make you produce chemicals. It's going to affect your chemical computer, right? So what's the chemical that's produced under stress? Something tall, Noxetol. That's one of the ones I can never remember. Yeah, there's certain chemicals that come out when you're under serious stress, you know. Right? Yeah, Bill. It's a very slow and it's a process that's, my goodness, it's like I can't even imagine what has to happen. I mean, a lot of it to me is like if you have a mental problem and you want to fix it, it's like changing almost a belief system. Because if you're miserable, you need to almost bring in this other belief system that's going to chemically alter your mind. Oh, here's something crazy that I heard. I forget where I read this. It was an essay on mental health or something. Cortisol. There it is. The article was on. It was a witch doctor in Africa. And when I say witch doctor, I mean the healer, the village shaman, the council guy you go to in the village if there's something wrong or if you don't feel right. And when the villagers would go to this guy and say, "Hey, I'm depressed. I'm miserable. I'm not happy. I can't I can't deal anymore." The witch doctor would say to the guy, "All right, what do you do? What's your gig in the village?" "Oh, you're the guy that carries the water and cleans the fish. That's your gig?" "Dude, you're gonna switch positions. We're gonna get you a different job for now and see if that helps." When I heard that, I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. He's shifting the dude's environment, you know, to see if it triggers another positive element. Teacher of 20 years. Yeah, they don't teach so many things now in school. I mean, I'm shocked that for the past few hundred years, philosophy hasn't been part of our curriculum. And that's not recent. It's been like that since the Christians claimed the moral high ground. When religion claimed moral high ground, philosophy took a sidestep. Can't teach it. If you said right now there was going to be a philosophy program in schools, there are people that would be mad. The reason why they would be mad is they don't know what it is. They don't know what it means. But it would just be like, no, I'm just going to get your kid to learn how to think about something. That's all. Like, we're going to learn the science of asking questions and learning and thinking. That's all. There's a little bit of a science to it, you know? That's how I would explain it. Like, look, we're going to get, like, kindergartners to debate why they like something or not, or why this is valuable for them and why they might like it. You know, like simple things like that. Little kids can do that. Cursive? I mean, what is the benefit of cursive? I'm curious. I mean, it does teach you how to control your hand. It does. But I'm going to be honest. I have horrible handwriting, and I've never had to use cursive, even back in the old days. It took me, like, I have bad hand-eye motor coordination for writing. I can paint three-dimensional, but handwriting, when I did cursive class, we learned it. Maybe it's good to learn the same way math is good to learn. It just gets your brain working in a new direction. Maybe that's it, yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah, okay. Ruth said it. You can't have religion and critical thinking. Correct. Because one of them tells you to stop critically thinking. It is kind of a problem. It's a big problem. Well, okay. Bill Yon said something very profound, actually. And I'm going to quote you, Bill, because I like it. Not to get all tinfoil hat guy, which you're not by saying this in any way, shape, or form, because I agree with you on this one. And I'll put a tinfoil hat on, and I don't care. We don't teach philosophy because if the masses were able to think for themselves, the system would fall apart. Yes, you're right. Right now, 80%, I know people that will say 85 or 90%, I'll say 80%, they don't want to think for themselves because it hurts. That's it. It hurts. It's not fun. It's physically uncomfortable. Because as soon as you ask one question and 10 more pop up, now you have a little more work to do. It implies effort and work. 80% of the population don't want to deal with that. They want it easy, fast, no stress. We evolved to do that. That's the norm. So I agree. Yes, yes. Oh, wow, this is good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the cursive, I'm curious because I'm not good at it. I tried when I was little. I never. Yeah, I didn't like it as a kid, cursive. I was one of the ones that didn't like it. I was never. I had. Yeah, I never had good cursive. Yeah. Oh, we had. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I get why people would want to have their own style of handwriting. I think that's neat. You know. Here's something funny. One of my grandmas, Helen, who's watching my relatives, I can't read her handwriting. The cursive is so elaborate that I can't even read it. Wow, yeah, cursing and printing. Gotta love that instant gratification. Well, that's philosophy. I mean, dude, philosophy is just. It's so weird that I'm a new philosophy student, brand new. I've only been doing it for a little over a year now. And when I mean learn, I mean, I really try to do it every day. I try to read my philosophy books. And I learned a lot of the things over the years. It's so fun to be able to be like, look, I've lived a large chunk of my life, and now I'm doing philosophy. There's some sort of value in that because I'm able to see examples of it. If I was 15 years old, I wouldn't be able to see all the examples of it. Now I can go, oh yeah, that really is like that, right? I have experience to bounce off of it. So I would say, oh, what's this? I have not, whoever this is, Inner Spaceways Incorporated. Hi, Inner Spaceways Incorporated, SP. Do we know each other? Because that's a cool name. I have not read that, but I'm going to write that down and check it out. I'm one of those guys, actually, so that I don't forget. I'm going to do it now. F-O-U-R-C. Yeah, I'll look it up, man. I mean, there's so much. It's like a whole. Once you start going into one, it starts to... Yeah, that's me, Dan. My grandmother's is so perfect, it's hard to read. It's like this crazy side... Yes, exactly. I have the context, Ruth. But again, if I had a little group of kids, I would love to come up with a course for philosophy for like kindergartners. For my own entertainment, to watch them solve problems. I get to see it if I dungeon master for little kids. If I'm a dungeon master for a group of 10-year-olds, watching how they problem solve is amazing. Oh, you're in Altoona. What's up? Okay. Inner Spaceways. Party on. Toontown. I'm trying to visit maybe in January. Maybe the first week. No. If I visit, it might be after Christmas, but it's that week in between. Foucault. I will definitely look it up. I'm a fan of philosophy, and if someone throws something out, I mean, there's a lot, and I'm trying to like balance it. But yeah, right now I'm in a Plato hole and a Nietzsche hole, and I the Diogenes stuff is some of my favorite, and I read a little bits here and there, and then I'll bounce over to now Aristotle's dancing around me. I'm compelled because I started thinking about rhetoric. But I was thinking about, okay, so on a magic note, because I'm going to bring it back to a magician now, because on Wednesday I'm going to do this episode where I get into my philosophy of magic. And my philosophy of how magic works, thank you, Francis Ann. I mean, I like to teach. I'm a fan of teaching. I enjoy it. It forces me to relearn everything. My magic philosophy, I mean, I've read a million books, but I never adopted one person's philosophy. Like, I use this guy's philosophy. It's just me and experience. It's my personal journey of what worked and what didn't work. What worked to gain me what I needed. Power and knowledge are connected. Power operates very... Yeah, okay. I mean, that's Nietzsche. That's the Ubermensch principle. You know, will to power, meaning we're all trying to become our own version of what powerful would be. And knowledge is clearly a benefit to that. Clearly. I mean, that's definite. So I would like this. I'm curious. I'm curious of what year is he from? This Foucault guy. Or gal. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. Yeah, what's his time period? What's his context? Because that, to me, is cool. That's why it's fun. You know, they're all learning off of each other. It is a science of sorts because they take what the last guy did. And Nietzsche's the one that kind of really blew it all up, I think. He really... Wow. I've become a huge fan of his stuff. I mean, really, it's hard. It's the one that's become... It's the hardest for me to... It took me the longest to grasp. So when I'm doing magic, right? And I'm going to do this thing that's going to have... I'm going to... What am I doing? Like if Socrates would be here, he'd be like, well, what is magic? What are you doing? I would be like, all right, I'm... Oh, the 60s. Okay, cool. So he's newer. Interesting. Okay, I'm in. That sounds great. What am I doing? Well, I'm showing somebody a little thing that I've created using my skills of rhetoric and hand skill, sleight of hand, prestidigitation, you know, my fingers doing the skill, and my mouth. Yeah, well, that's it. If the teacher's having fun, that's it. The class is going to have fun. So I'm selling this little thing using my rhetoric and my skill of the hand to create a moment of wonder. Doing something that's impossible in the known world. That's all. That's what a magic trick is. And it's also not theater. It's done in real time. It's presented as a reality. This is why I don't like magic that is in character. I like it real. It is real. It's supposed to be real. That's what I'm doing. So how does rhetoric play into that? Well, there's the ethos, logos, and pathos part of the Aristotle rhetoric thing. And it's funny because after I learned about that, I was like, of course, that's what I do. It's those three. The ethos is the credential of the person doing it. So in this situation, the magician. How do they know you're good? Like, okay, so if I'm at a party or at a bar and nobody knows who I am and I'm just hanging out and someone's like, yo, do a trick. And then I do a trick and the guy over here starts to watch and now this guy watches and now there's 8 people watching me, right? So they know I'm just a guy at the bar. They don't know I do magic on a professional level, full time, and I've done 3,000 plus shows. They don't know that. I could say that, hi, I'm a professional magician. I've done 3,500. I mean, that would be not good. So how do I gain respect and their mind in the right context so that I can do the fooling part? How do I gain respect like that? In a magic situation, if I'm being hired for a corporate party and I show up with my fringe leather jacket and my hair combed, they know that I'm an entertainer. They're like, all right, he's the entertainer guy. Clearly, he doesn't look like a magician. He looks more like he's going to do Elvis numbers or something, is what people assume. When I walk into gigs, they're always like, oh, are you the piano guy? Or are you the host, the singer? Nope, the magic guy. Oh, the magic guy. Wow, okay. A lot of times they don't expect that. So when I'm in a bar or I go to an art show with my friend and all of a sudden now I'm doing magic, whatever. How do I gain their wow? Well, I could downplay it and then the trick itself ends up being the logos. They're like, that just happened. That's impossible. The other way would be I can show off really quickly skill of the hand. If you give me a quarter or a pen, you know, even with a marker, I can do all of these weird little flip-de-dip rolls and like I know how to. Whoop, except for that, that's not good. But you know what I'm saying? Like if you give me a pack of cards, I can shuffle it so it looks like I've been shuffling cards for many years, and they're like, "Whoa, that's not normal." Or I'll do a move they know. I'll do the bridge. I'll do the one-handed cut, which they've seen their uncle do. And then I'll do the shuffles and the crazy stuff. There's no way their uncle does it unless he's a professional magician. Boom, I got my cred. They're like, wow, he's way better than anybody I've ever seen. So, so there's the ethos. You know, if I'm doing a show, the MC does it. Ladies and gentlemen, the next act you're about to see, blah, 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 blah. Right? The program, right? Logos is to me where the real magic has to happen. That's the logic. That is the reality check of sorts in the context. And then the pathos is the emotion that happens after or the emotional hook you're going to get before to get them in. And I think there's the part where it can fall apart. Because if you're trying to do too much of an emotional hook, you're going to scare them away. So a small emotional hook would be, oh, I'm about to show you something. When I was a little kid, I learned how to do this, and it got me through school, and the bullies stopped picking on me. Here, let me show you. There it is. I just planted a little seed, a little emotional seed of a context to what I'm about to do. The logic part is where I explain what I'm doing. Here's what's going to happen, folks. I'm going to take this, and then this might happen. And if it does, that's that'll be the magic part, right? It's also in the logos, the logic of how I put it together. of how they're going to remember the trick. In me explaining it, I'm able to, and this is now I'm getting into the secrets, the real secrets. This is where, this is what you won't learn in the book right away. As I'm doing the trick, I'm playing, what do they leave with? They leave with the memory. They don't leave with the trick. They only leave with the memory of the trick. Here it is. Oh my God, I saw him do this, right? Well, that memory, I'm able to code it in their head how I want it to be coded. How I'm standing, the way I'm dressed, the way I'm holding things, the way the props are being held, the word choices I use will dictate that memory. And the memory they have might not be what actually happened. There it is. So it's in the explanation of it. It's the logic part. It's kind of weird. So yeah, I've been using all of these techniques my whole time in a very, very detailed manner to get these things to work. You know, sometimes I'll use the pathos part, the emotional part. I use that as the mask for the dirty work. If you can get somebody to laugh, you can do the dirty thing. They're blind. If you can get somebody to chuckle, their brain literally goes blind for a second. They're off. You can literally, they'll look up, they'll laugh, they're off tune. The other one is, without seeming pompous, the other one is, oh wait, hold on, this is good. Eastern religion. Oh yeah. Ah, interesting. Thank you, Jason. Yeah. I had a professor in college who taught a class in Eastern religion. Yeah. Each class, he would talk about his commute that day, and somehow at the end, he would tie himself. Yeah, that's great. Well, the seed planting, it's not only that it can't seem pompous, it has to be invisible. It has to be incidental. It's something mentioned, something light. And to me, that's real magic. That's where the real shaman steps into play. That is where stage magic, black magic, witchcraft, voodoo, that's where they all lie, is the seed plant. And seed planting in someone's head is what commercials are doing. It's what, if you watch car commercials, they're not the same as a toilet paper commercial. Toilet paper commercial knows you're going to be in the grocery store tomorrow. McDonald's knows you're going to pass one. So those commercials are designed to get you to go now. Car commercials, they know you're not going to go buy a car tomorrow. They're just getting you ready for it in a couple years. So the way they're all planting seeds is a little different. And when I started noticing that how I conduct magic to get this done and how I give people a feeling that's about the aftermath, I'm in charge of it before, I started looking at how the world works differently. And I've been looking at that, for many years. Wow. Okay. That was a talky episode, folks. It's funny because I drink a full cup of coffee a little late today. I usually don't drink coffee after 4 or 5 p.m. So I was like the whole time. Wow. We got a great group in here, folks. I think you guys are going to really enjoy my episode on Wednesday if you step in. It's Magic Method Rant. And I'm going to be reviewing this trick called The Prophecy by Roberto Giaobi, who's a Swiss magician, most famous for writing the Card College series. Do I have Card College? I had Card College 1 and I gave it away. They're not bad. They're actually kind of cool. There's like 7 of them. I only had 1. Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, go do your thing. We'll chat cookies. Yeah, Wednesday you're gonna love it. Really, if you're a magician watching this, I think you're gonna like it, and I want your opinion. I'm curious. I'm going to get into my values in magic. I will review my rules of magic. I've created rules that I try to stick to, a code of sorts of how I perform magic, like my little guide. And so that's going to be in the show too. But I'm not going to be teaching tricks. I'm going to be teaching how I think about magic and tricks. That's what I'm going to be teaching. So it will be philosophy, but for that art form. And to me, magic is a reality. It's not a fantasy. It's reality. Because it's presented as a reality. If you say you're going to do something, it happens. It's the context. So I think you're going to like it. Yep, that's it. Seed planting. And once you realize how powerful it is, it's funny. And this has everything to do with it and nothing to do with it. It just popped into my head. I remember when I was studying stage combat in college. It was kind of my minor in school. I was the assistant teacher to the stage combat class, and I would conduct the classes for the freshmen. I was able to. I knew what I was doing. Stargazing. Cheers. And so one of the things when you're choreographing stage fights, the audience they don't remember this. They don't remember that. They remember you holding the guy and doing that. They remember this. Right? And then they remember him on the ground and you standing above him. They don't remember the actual hit necessarily. And so as a choreographer, I was taught, think of stage combat like a comic book. And that way, when you craft it, again, you're planting a seed of which images you want them to remember when they go home. Like him standing up with his hands on his thing yelling at the guy. Or him holding him on the ground with his arm up. Like, those are the ones, that's what they're going to go home with. Those emotionally charged stage pictures. Which I thought was interesting. And magic's very similar to that. Like, the way I hold a card, it's so funny. Is this? Yeah, if I pull a card out of the deck, just how I hold it, or if I hold it like this, it means something. People don't ever think about that. How you turn over a card, do you turn it over like that? Or do you turn it over like this? See the difference? Like, here's something I always teach little kids. When they're finding someone's card, they'll go, and your card was that. This is a joker. It's a terrible card. Right? And I'm like, no, you take it. And then you do that. That's how I like to turn a card. I look at it, and I do that. That'll get applause if you do that way. See, so you're planting these kind of seeds, and then when you add what you're saying to it, you can really change what actually happened. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Stargazing is awesome. Anybody that takes any moment of the day to go outside and enjoy nature for whatever it is, you're gaining so much gold you can't believe. I go to the beach every day. My mama, who now lives on the beach, and my sister, who also lives on another beach, we all go to the beach all the time. Why? It's a charge. You're seeing real magic. When I go up to the beach and the sun is floating above the horizon and I can look at it with my bare eyes because it's low, and I guess the atmosphere makes it easier to see, it's a floating fireball. Why is it there? No one knows. To me, that's a mystery of all mysteries. No one will ever figure out, and nor should they. I like to go enjoy that, daily. So stargazing, pure gold. I love stargazing. When it's new moon, I go up to the beach. It's great. Folks, you're an awesome crowd. I have a blast doing these, and I can't wait for Wednesday. Stay tuned. If you're new in here, hit that stupid subscribe button. Trying to get to 1,000. It ain't easy. They're making it harder. They're making the algorithms even worse. The beach is life. That's where we came from. We crawled out of that sea. Folks, Peter, Achilles, everybody, Francis Ann, Dan P, Jason, Ruth, Peter Benedetti, blah, 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 Fallon, Dan, Amanda, Bill Yon, the new person who's in here who has a really long name, Inner Spaceways Incorporated, ISP. Everybody, thank you. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'm going to take us out with, oh yeah, you can donate if you want. I'm going to take us out with the end credits. Party on, everybody. See you next week with episode 203. And on Wednesday, this Wednesday, Magic Method rant. Thank you, everybody. Bye.